Welcome to the Misha Wilson Show, where we show you how to create massive success online so you can enjoy the lifestyle of your wildest dreams.
Hey, if you want to discover why reading is actually a monumental waste of time, stick around and watch today's video through until the very end, as I'm about to share with you how reading actually hurts a lot of people in our industry make progress, get results, and ultimately launch their online business. With that said, as always, if this is your first video, my name is Misha Wilson, and over the course of the last few years, I've now done many millions of dollars in sales. I've worked with literally tens of thousands of students. And so everything I'm going to be sharing with you here today in this video is based on actual experiential knowledge and not just theory. As always, if you get value, please let me know in the comments section below what your biggest takeaway is. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up button below this video. With that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, so what I want to talk about here today is why reading can actually be a huge waste of time and keeps a lot of people, specifically in our industry, from reaching their goals, getting their business off the ground, and even just getting profitable for the very first time. All right, so that said, the first thing I want to say is just kind of a disclaimer, right? What I'm going to be talking about here today is a trend that I have seen in a lot of our students, specifically in our industry, specifically beginners trying to get their business off the ground for the very first time. All right, I do not think reading in general is a waste of time. I don't think once you're to a certain point, reading is something that you shouldn't be investing your time in. And for that matter, I don't necessarily think that when you're first getting started, reading is something that you should avoid. What I do want to talk about here today is the trap that it can set for people and the cycle that it creates for a lot of people, which keeps them from getting up and off the ground. All right, so that said, let's go ahead and dive in. So we've worked with, at this point, or the company and myself has worked with tens of thousands of people trying to get their online business off the ground. And when you look at the average person just getting started, looking to start an online business, usually they have very little business experience. They don't necessarily know what they don't know, right? They are trying to learn a ton of skill sets all at once. And that puts them in a state of intaking information, right? Going through courses, learning skill sets, reading books, reading business books, reading personal development books, etc. And that's all good when it comes to first getting started, right? You do need to know the initial skill sets in order to first take the first action steps to start to go ahead and get your business off the ground 100%. There is no argument there. And when it comes to the personal development, when it comes to those initial skill sets, there is no problem with reading and reading books to get those skill sets and kind of ways of being from a personal development standpoint. The issue that I see with so many people is this. Usually when people are not taking action, usually when people are not doing the thing they know they should be doing, right? Maybe they know they need to be doing videos just like this, but they're trying to put it off. Maybe they know they, should be launching an ad, but they're putting it off because they're fearful of spending money on ads. That's a huge one for our business. Maybe they know they should be emailing their list, but they don't think they're a good copywriter, so they're putting off emailing their list. Usually what happens in that situation is instead of doing the thing they know they should be doing, they'll revert back to doing the thing that feels comfortable while giving them a feeling like they're making progress. All right. And usually what that thing is either reading books, reading how-to books, reading personal development books, or going through the next course, going through the next product, going through the next thing the next guru is launching, spending more and more and more time in learning and learning and learning and learning. Now, look, again, it's great at the very beginning. You have to do it at the very beginning. But the cold, hard truth is that unless you can actually get yourself to take action, unless you can actually get yourself to do something, unless you can actually get yourself to sit down and hit record on the video and do it over and over and over again. Do the same thing with ads. Launch the ads and do them over and over and over again. Take the action steps to actually grow your business. You are never going to get to a point where you launch, definitely you're not going to get profitable, and you're never going to do it in a sustainable fashion. And so what I usually teach my students, and this is kind of how I would recommend you to approach it when you're first getting started, is if you're first getting started at the very beginning, it's going to be about 100% learning, right? So for the first, month, I usually give it maybe a month and a half just to learn the basic skill sets. That's all learning. But then very quickly, what you want to realize is you want to go from 100% learning and 0% doing to 50% learning and 50% doing to ultimately you want to get to a point where you're about 80% doing and 20% learning. All right. So you never stop learning. You never stop reading books long term. You never stop improving long term. But about 80, sometimes 90% of the time, you are executing. And then just in your spare time, you're learning how to refine the execution steps that you're taking. You're learning how to make the execution steps that you're taking a little bit better. You're learning essentially how to, move the levers on the dial a few degrees in order to get a bigger output for the input that you're going ahead and executing on. But if you never get to a point where you get out of learning, when you get out of perpetually taking in information to a place where you're actually in the state of consistently executing, you will never launch. You will never get your first result. You will never start to see success. You will never get to a point where you start to have momentum, at any level to where you'll actually feel like you're successful and where you'll actually see the money in your bank account to prove that you are successful. So, again, what I'll say is, long term for everyone, yes, keep reading, keep getting better, keep improving, but don't let it be something that you fall back on to keep yourself from doing the thing that you should be doing because it's more comfortable to read, because it's more comfortable to go through the course, because it's more comfortable to just learn. Focus on execute consistently enough to the point where you have results. And when you're there, focus on learning, getting better, improving, and continue that process. With that said, I hope you got a ton of value out of today's video. If you did, please let me know in the comments section below what your biggest takeaway was. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up button below this video.